If you know how powerful is the law of vibration, you definitely know that specific frequencies can be used to manipulate reality. Even some Catholic churches use sound waves from their massive binaural organs to generate a sense of melancholy and to help the congregation believe. Depression is caused by 6.6 Hz. Russians have used 10.80 Hz to incite unruly behavior in sporting arenas, and there are many examples like that. So, using the right frequency can heal yourself, get what you desire, create levitation, and so on. Since life began, the Earth has been surrounding and protecting all living things with a natural frequency pulsation of 7.83 Hz, known as the Schumann Resonance, or the heartbeat of the Earth. The ancient Indians knew a lot about this powerful frequency because, guess what? 7.83 Hz is the exact frequency of the Om mantra. Schumann resonance occurs due to the space between the Earth's surface and the conductive ionosphere functioning as a waveguide. Because of the Earth's finite size, this waveguide acts as a resonant cavity for electromagnetic waves in the ELF band. Energy from lightning strikes spontaneously excites the cavity. The Schumann resonance's lowest frequency and highest intensity mode has a frequency of about 7.83 Hz. The Schumann resonances are quasi-stationary electromagnetic waves that exist in the Earth's electromagnetic cavity, which is the space between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere. They are not always present, like waves on a string, but must be stimulated to be observed. They're not caused by anything within the Earth's crust or core. They appear to be linked to electrical activity in the atmosphere, especially during periods of severe lightning activity. They occur in various frequencies, including 7.83, which is the strongest, 14, 20, 26, 33, 39, and 45 are the weakest, with a daily range of roughly 0.5 Hz. These frequencies will remain constant as long as the Earth's electromagnetic cavity parameters remain constant. As the Earth's ionosphere varies in response to the 11-year solar activity cycle, some change is presumably caused by the solar sunspot cycle. W.O. Schumann, a German physicist, predicted the resonant qualities of this terrestrial cavity between 1952 and 1957, and they were discovered in 1954. Although the existence of the Schumann resonance is a well-established scientific fact, very few scientists are aware of its significance as a tuning fork for life. It is proposed that it is a significant electromagnetic standing wave operating as background frequency and impacting biological oscillators within the human brain rather than phenomena induced by lightning in the atmosphere. Dr. Ankermuller, a physician, quickly drew the connection between the Schumann resonance and the alpha rhythm of brainwaves when Schumann's research results were published in the journal Technische Physik. He was intrigued by the idea of the Earth having the same inherent resonance as the brain. He contacted Professor Schumann, who in turn asked a doctoral candidate to investigate this phenomenon. Herbert Koenig, Schumann's successor at Munich University, was this contender. Koenig discovered a link between Schumann resonances and brain rhythms. He found that the principal frequency produced by Schumann oscillations was quite near the frequency of alpha rhythms when he compared human EEG recordings with natural electromagnetic fields of the environment. Dr. Koenig conducted additional measurements of Schumann resonance and eventually arrived at a frequency of exactly 7.83 Hz, which is even more intriguing because this frequency applies to mammals. For example, in 1982, Gray discovered that septal driving of the hippocampus rhythm in rats had a minimum threshold of 7.7 Hz. Many researchers have looked into this relationship. Dr. Wolfgang Ludwig, a leading researcher in this subject, has studied Schumann resonance and its role in nature for many years. During his investigation, Dr. Ludwig discovered ancient Chinese teachings stating that man needed two environmental signals, the yang, masculine signal from above, and the yin, feminine signal from below. This description fits the comparatively high yang signal of the Schumann wave around our globe and the weaker yin signal of geomagnetic waves originating from below or within the planet. According to Chinese beliefs, both signals must be balanced to reach complete health. Dr. Ludwig discovered that this was indeed the case. He writes in his book, Informative Medicine, that a study conducted by E. Jacobi at the University of Dusseldorf showed that the one-sided usage of Schumann yang wave simulation without the geomagnetic yin signal created major health concerns. The absence of Schumann waves, on the other hand, creates a comparable situation. Professor R. Weaver of the Max Planck Institute for Behavioral Physiology in Erlangen-Antliches constructed an underground bunker that blocked off magnetic forces. In this hermetically sealed enclosure, student volunteers lived for 4 weeks. Professor Weaver observed that the students' circadian rhythms deviated, causing emotional anguish and migraine headaches. Because they were young and robust, no significant health problems appeared, which would not have occurred in older adults or people with weakened immune systems. The volunteers' health returned to normal after only a brief exposure to 7.8 Hz, the frequency that had been screened out. The same complaints were made by the first astronauts and cosmonauts, who were no longer exposed to the Schumann waves in space. Modern spacecraft are claimed to have a technology that simulates Schumann's waves. All of the points mentioned above indicate that the old teachings are correct. Mankind relies on 2 delicate environmental signals, yin from below and yang from above. According to some studies, the frequency of the basic Schumann's resonance has recently increased in value, potentially endangering the entire ecosystem, human welfare, and our evolutionary future. Electromagnetic field interactions govern all biological activities. EM fields serve as a link between the worlds of form and resonant patterns. They save gestalts or information patterns. Our human DNA helix co-evolves in the Earth's environment and links solar system resonances and brain frequencies. Louis B. Hainsworth, M.A., an electrical engineer, was among the first to propose that human health is linked to geophysical parameters via the naturally occurring Schumann's ELF. His theory found naturally occurring features that influence the frequency spectrum of human brainwave rhythms. The frequencies of naturally existing electromagnetic signals flowing in the electrically resonant cavity bordered by the Earth and the ionosphere have guided or determined the evolution or development of the operating frequencies of the major human brainwave signals. For instance, the alpha rhythm is set so that it can never be heavily interfered with by naturally occurring signals. According to Hainsworth, the frequencies of human brainwaves evolved in response to these messages. If his idea is right, the groundwork for evolutionary changes in human brainwave patterns has now been laid. Furthermore, alterations in these patterns might result in minor to severe health and behavioral changes. A tuned system comprises at least 2 oscillators with the same resonance frequency. If one oscillator begins to emit, the signal will quickly activate the other in a process known as resonance, or kindling or igniting the resonance phenomena among neurons. It becomes clear that when waves of alpha and theta rhythms cascade across the entire brain in profound meditation, a resonance between the person and the planet is possible. Energy and information encoded in a field are transmitted. Perhaps the Earth speaks to us in this primitive language of frequencies. As humans, we have incredible abilities that we've only begun to investigate, let alone comprehend. Unpredictable or emergent creative gifts, intuitions, and talents may become stabilized in future generations. Hopefully, we'll be able to understand both our origin from a fundamentally electromagnetic environment and our capacity for healing, growth, and non-local communication. Although measurements could easily establish Schumann's resonance at the time of its discovery, it's no longer visible due to our environment being filled with man-made radiation noise at various frequencies. This is completely drowning out natural signals that have been around for eons of development. These signals could operate as a natural tuning fork, not just for the biological oscillators of the brain, but for all life processes. Another hazard is growing with the introduction of new wireless technologies. Specifically, microwaves pulsed at frequencies close to Schumann resonance, as in mobile telephony. We may be creating an atmosphere that is actually out of tune with Mother Nature, and it is at this moment that we must comprehend how everything alive reacts to even the most modest changes in the magnetic and electromagnetic fields that surround us. Having an OBFR is the starting point for excellent health. According to biophysical research, our biological system is tuned into our planet's background frequency, the Schumann Resonance, a continuous pulse of 7.83 Hz that beats around the planet within the Earth ionosphere cavity. This has been discovered to be all mammals' prevalent brainwave rhythm. Overlapping this natural frequency with man-made radiation noise can severely affect our immune system. Living beings either evolved in this natural electromagnetic environment or were created with divine intelligence to live in harmony with it, depending on your point of view. One thing is certain, the Earth has surrounded all living things with this natural frequency pulse since the beginning of time. Many specialists feel that this broad spectrum of man-made EMF radiation obscures the Earth's natural beneficial frequency. Electropollution might make us feel more anxious, tired, and out of balance. Exposing living cells to the Schumann resonance had the effect of protecting them from ambient EMFs, allowing the cells to boost their immunological defense and decrease the absorption of depression-inducing substances. Some researchers claim that using a field generator, Schumann device, to generate a 7.83 Hz pulse can counteract the effects of the annoying man-made fields. We may give ourselves, at least in our immediate vicinity, a healthier environment if we mimic the Earth's natural rhythm. The Earth has been surrounding and guarding all living things with a natural frequency of 7.83 Hz since the beginning of time, which the ancient Indian rishi called Om. In 9000 BC, Vedic sages living on the banks of the Saraswati River recited the Om mantra. Saraswati's Vedic culture lasted until 4000 BC, when the river became non-perennial due to structural upheavals blocking the Himalayan glacier's mouth. The elite then spread throughout the world, including the western shores of India, Mesopotamia, Europe, and Russia. The fundamental mode of Schumann's resonance is a standing wave in the ionosphere cavity with a wavelength equal to the Earth's diameter. A resonance between the human being and the planet is conceivable during deep meditation when waves of alpha and theta rhythms cascade across the entire brain. Energy and information are exchanged that are embedded in the zero-point field or ether field. In this primary language of frequencies, the planet interacts with us. A living being is an EMF field embedded within the Earth's EMF field. The DNA of each cell acts as a vibrating transmitter and receiver of information. The Schumann resonances are caused by the accumulation of cosmic energy within the void that exists between Earth's highly conducive surface and the conducting layer in the upper atmosphere, known as the ionosphere. The region between the Earth's surface and the conductive ionosphere works as a waveguide. Lightning strikes naturally activate the cavities. This ionosphere charge forms a protective electrical shield surrounding the Earth. The atmosphere acts as a dielectric insulator separating the two. As a result, spherical capacitors and spherical resonators are generated and maintained. Electrical impulses of adequate wavelength, low frequency, are waves directed around and around between this sphere within a sphere and is the base of Schumann resonance of 7.8 Hz, traveling mostly from west to east. 7.83 Hz, or the alpha frequency, is the gateway that leads into deeper states of consciousness. Most people are in alpha state during the short time immediately before they fall asleep and when the conscious nervous system switches over to the subconscious. 7 to 12 Hz range is the frequency range for relaxed consciousness, psychic stimulation, mind-body integration, inner awareness, visualization, and whole brain thinking. The alpha wave state is a sign of deep relaxation while awake. Taking a break and meditation are two activities that produce alpha waves. You experience a liberating sense of peace and well-being. The alpha state is where meditation starts, and you begin to access the wealth of creativity that lies just below your conscious awareness. Alpha is also the home of the window frequency known as the Schumann Resonance, which is the resonant frequency of the Earth's electromagnetic field. When we intentionally generate alpha waves and go into resonance with that earthy frequency, we naturally feel better, refreshed, in tune, and in sync. It is, in fact, environmental synchronization. Using Schumann Yang wave modeling without the geomagnetic Yin signal resulted in major health issues. Emotional anguish and migraine headaches were reported in an underground bunker that was totally shielded from magnetic fields. The ionosphere's conductive and negatively charged electrons. The charge continues to rise until the atmosphere collapses and electrons fall to Earth in the form of lightning. The ionosphere that surrounds our globe is electrically positively charged, whereas the Earth's surface is negatively charged. Ball condensers, or capacitors, are two concentric electrically charged balls, one inside the other in physics. Lightning discharge produces electromagnetic waves. Every second, 200 lightning strikes occurs somewhere on Earth to maintain an electrical balance between the Earth and the ionosphere. These lightning strikes energize the flute and cause the resonating cavity to vibrate. The flute generates waves that bounce off the ionosphere and then off the Earth repeatedly. The resulting song contains data from the ionosphere, which mirrors the universe, and data about everything that happens on Earth. This music is usually described in terms of its beat or frequency. The Schumann resonance is the frequency of the beat. The field has lost most of its intensity as the Earth's pulse rate increases and its magnetic field strength decreases. This could result in a magnetic pole reversal very soon. The ionosphere is being managed by U.S. government military scientists using the HAARP High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Program Alaskan Transmitter, which transmits targeted radiated radiation to heat portions of the ionosphere, which bounces power down again. When HAARP ELF waves are directed at certain places, they can weather engineer and cause mood shifts that affect millions of people. The Russians have their own plan. The Japanese have the mind-altering psychotronic Tesla technology as well, purchased from Russia by the Japanese mafia yakuza with tons of gold. Now consider how mobile phone antenna radiation impacts Schumann's resonance when the resonance between the antennas and your neurological system is established. Cancer, hypertension, cardiovascular illness, neurological disease, leukemia, Alzheimer's disease, reproductive disorders, and other diseases may be initiated or exacerbated by perturbations in the Schumann resonance that push it either too far above or too far below the master 7.83 Hz frequency. Spinning ions, which typically govern cell metabolism, such as calcium, potassium, sodium, and lithium, are ejected out of the cell and into the bloodstream, where they are deposited in the joints or removed. Calcium, potassium, and lithium are ions that regulate serenity, mental clarity, and mood stabilization in addition to cell metabolism. Some specific examples include calcium accumulation in the joints being linked to arthritis, a shortage of potassium being linked to Alzheimer's, and a lack of lithium being linked to chronic sadness and mood swings. Modern technology's electropollution might make us feel more agitated, weary, and out of balance.